Alright, let's get into it. Today, I'm going to be doing a deck tech on a modification of the mono black list I ran through the league. That was the first one on the channel. Got a link up in the top if you want to take a look at that deck tech. I'm not going to go too much into the description of the cards that I already covered in the previous deck tech. So if you want to see it, click the question mark. Alright, let's get rolling. Witches, we cut down to 2. Still very good versus 1/1s. Crypt Rats, just a great sweeper. Still got the 4 Phyrexian Ragers and the 4 Chittering Rats, 2 Thorn of the Black Rose, and 4 Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Now, this deck is a lot more focused on devotion, which you'll be able to see in a minute, but doing that ironically made it easier to splash another color. So I got 2 Dinrova Horror main deck to deal with cards that I don't normally get to deal with a mono black list, like enchantments and stuff like that. Instant and sorcery package did change up a little bit too. I went down to 3 Disfigure instead of 4. Added in a Raven's Crime to be able to cycle away extra lands. I also put in 2 Siphon Lives to try to keep my life total high enough till I can go off with Gary or just beat in face. Trimmed to Sign in Blood. It's still good mid late game with all the life gain, but trimming 1 just made space for some of the other cards. And I went down to 2 Tendrils of Corruption because not being mono black anymore means these actually got a little bit worse. Moving down to artifacts and enchantments. I got 1 Dead Weight. This is what I cut the Disfigure for. It just is clean answer to Atog. Disfigure, they can just sack a single artifact and get away with it, but on your turn, that Atog's going to die or they have to flaney out right there. Still got the 2 Oubliettes. Yes, they're still bugged. Hopefully they get it fixed come the new release. But a double black removal spell that stays on the field is just too good for devotion to be able to put in the sideboard. Hopefully nobody tries to blow it up, but if it happens, it happens. And the reason the blue splashes in the deck is the Mist Vein Borderpost, the blue-black Borderpost. These things are sweet. They effectively can function in your basic land spot, giving you extra devotion, but also you can cast them on turn 3 if you do have a blue source out there to be able to ramp into a turn 4 Grey Merchant as opposed to having to wait till turn 5, turn 6. You can drop a merchant on turn 4 and gain 4 life. That's pretty sweet, pretty awesome, and the main reason why the change in the deck happened. I wanted to see if these were good enough to make mono black function a little bit differently and still be good. Jumping into the land package, this also obviously changed up a lot. I'm running a 4 of Ash Barrens. Help thin my deck, help me get my 1 island if I do need it. 1 of Baron Moore, just be able to cycle away. It probably could be 0 with the 3 retrace cards that I'm running, but I still got the 1 in there. Got 1 Bojuka Bog. And only 2 Dismal Backwater. With the 4 Borderpost, it gives me 6 dual lands effectively that can get me blue or black mana. But the Borderposts are help push the devotion, and that's where I really wanted to focus on. I mentioned 1 island and 11 swamps. Typically, like I said, the Tendrils of the Corruption got a little bit worse with going this route. I ended up cutting some of the lands. But with being able to fetch them out anyways, typically my Tendrils are hitting for 5 in the mid game instead of like 7. I didn't give up too much power on the Tendrils, but it was enough to where I did trim them down. Moving on to the sideboard, still got the 2 Crypt Rats. I got 2 Doom Blades on the board. I have an instant speed interaction to be able to target or removal a creature regardless of size, especially trimming on the swamps so the Tendrils weren't as good. Doom Blades just fit the bill a little bit better, a lot more reliable when you need it to be. 2 Contaminated Ground, helps slow down Tron. 2 of Duress for dealing with counterspelly type matchups. Speaking of counterspells, something else this deck has over the mono black is the ability to deal with stuff on the stack. I got 2 Dispel to try to protect versus instant speed removal spells, 2 Memory Lapse as a catch-all. I'm not going to deal with that spell this turn. It basically functions as your 5th and 6th Chittering Rat just doesn't hit the board, and 1 of Echoing Truth to be able to get rid of enchantments or about 30 million elves that might be attacking you to the face. 2 of Relic of Progenitus to keep the board cleaned, or keep the opponent's graveyards cleaned up. Short of the 2 Chainer's Edict, there's nothing in my graveyard that really matters. I got no way to buy anything back. Sometimes people do bring in graveyard hate against me because they think I'm playing anglers, but for the most part, this is just to fight against other graveyard decks or maybe draw me a card mid to late game when I don't need it to function that way anymore. That's the deck tech. I'm going to run this deck through a league, see how it turns out. I will be recording those games and uploading them as well. Thanks for watching. You want to see more content like this? Click the follow button. You can follow me on Twitter as well, @GeekLukeG. This is Couch Troll Brewing.